Awesome.
Hello, good morning. My name is Elisa, and if we haven't met yet, I'm Community Manager for the Slidesgo Educator Community. I am thrilled to be here today with Eric Nesbitt of Texas. Erin, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Erin. I've been teaching in Texas for about 6 years now. I use technology all the time, and so the use of Slidesgo just integrates so well with what I do that it's become like a tradition type of thing. So I'm excited to be here.
Excellent. If you have not been part of an AMA before, the idea is that we can ask Erin anything. Ask me, not me, Erin. And today, I think this is a great way of starting a tradition of hosting AMAs where we start at the beginning, right? Like this is Erin, we would consider this the beginning of using Slidesgo. It's like, okay, cool. How do I find a thing? And then be quick about swapping in your lesson. So I'm gonna hand it over to you.
All right, awesome. So when I am planning and I am utilizing how I'm going to get my information across, I always find that the easiest way to do that is with presentations. And so creating presentations, whether it's my daily slides or my 20-minute mini lessons that we do in class, always have to revolve around some sort of template because I am not that creative and I don't have that much time. So Slidesgo is perfect for this. So I use these templates for my daily lessons that I show my students every day that kind of just walk us through what we're doing that day and kind of, what to expect. So if you actually want to give me screen share access, I can show one of those.
I deeply apologize. I didn't
realize you're good.
You didn't have it. Controls, share their screen. There it is.
All right, awesome. So let's see. We'll do the entire window. All right, share. Okay, so when I do slides like my daily whatever. So it'll usually have the date and whatever. I need the first thing that for them to do when they walk in the room. So this is just this is what you need to do to get class started. And usually it's some sort of sheet off the front table. So then I walk them through sort of the agenda. And then each slide has its own piece of the lesson that we're going through. Some of them are just for me to remind me what part of the lesson we're in. And some of them are for the students as well. So for example, when I include my mini lessons, I always hyperlink them into the slides because it helps me be able to easily find them, but it also helps the students to, if they're absent, they can go back to these slides on Canvas or whatever LMS you're using, and they can actually go into the mini lessons themselves.
What is a mini lesson versus a bigger lesson?
So mini lessons are essentially the concept lessons that we're doing for that day. So let's say, for example, that I want to talk about this day, we talked about literary text elements. So we go through and look at all the different pieces of the literary text element. And I'll kind of walk you guys through the difference in kind of setting those up as well. But it has all the things that we need to look at for whatever the concept is that we are talking about that we're going to be working on. And the setup for those is a little different than my typical setup of my daily lessons. So when I'm creating templates, or not templates, but when I'm creating my slides, I usually will have a batch of resources, templates that I use in my Google Drive. So These are all the different Google Slide templates that I've downloaded off of Slidesgo throughout the years. If there's nothing in here that I really like, then I'll go into Slidesgo and kind of just search out whatever I'm looking for. So for my daily stuff, it's usually whatever season it is. So like Thanksgiving or Halloween. If I want to do a mini lesson on essays, I can type in like notebook templates or something like that to kind of get me started and get me thinking of the concept. And then from there, it kind of depends on what types of lessons I'm doing, looking at what kind of slides I'm doing. So for example, we'll pull this template. So I'll create a copy of the template because I like to keep all my regular templates in here so I can use them 1,000 times over. So then I'll just create my mini template here. It'll load. It usually takes a minute. And then for my daily slides, I'm always looking for this first title slide, some sort of agenda slide. So something with a title and then text that I could use as an agenda. And then I also look for other slides like these that it can give me a title as well as some text for like what my students are doing. So in my example, so for this piece of the lesson, I keep this slide up while we're reading through whatever the text is so that they know that they should be reading along, highlighting unfamiliar vocabulary. So they have their, kind of go. But it also helps, like if I'm being observed and I have somebody come in and we're all standing here, it helps to have this slide on the presentation or up and out because then they know what the students are also supposed to be doing. So those are really what I look for in daily slides. When I look at my mini lessons, they're a little different. It depends a lot more on what concept is being taught and how many pieces of the concept are being taught. So for example, when we're doing literary text elements, I knew that I had 8 different pieces that I needed to go to and that I needed to hit on. So I will usually do some sort of slide like this, and pretty much every Slidesgo template has it, where they'll do a 6 concept thing. So I'll go in and put whatever the different pieces are into these titles and then give like just brief descriptions of them so that then I can go back and explain them more in depth later. But that gives the kids the ability to see everything in one big snapshot and then to be able to use other slides to break down the concepts that we're looking at. So for example, when I did this one, I looked at setting. Well, I knew setting had 4 different pieces that I wanted them to look at. So I pulled each piece into a different kind of template that allowed me to better express and better focus on the individual minute pieces of a much larger picture.
So not only is I'm just repeating back to you to make sure that
You're good.
You're using the agenda slide for obviously for communicating to students what you're learning, but you're also structuring your own way of thinking.
Absolutely.
The agenda.
Yeah. And then it allows me, like doing things like this allows me to be able to then go back and if I want to, so we all have, our kids with accommodations, a lot of times they'll have copy of notes. And what I've found is even just for my everyday students, creating a guided note sheet based on the lesson that I created in my slides template allows them to see what's on the slides. And especially I love that Slidesgo has all of these basic slides in their templates. So it's easy to pick out. So I could literally go into any of these Google slides and pick out a completely different slide that has all the same templates. So for example, here, let me share. All right.
Yeah, this is, while you're pulling that up, this was something that I hadn't heard with you actually, is that the fact that the templates do follow a consistent layout gives you the ability to like grab quickly.
Absolutely. So like this is a completely different template from Slidesgo, but it still has that sort of table of contents thing. You still have like with the numbers and the title and the subtitle. Most of them have, you know, other like graphics if you want to use those. We don't use them a lot in English, but if you're using like history, like these timeline slides are great, and they can be found in pretty much every template you're looking at. So it's crazy easy to be able to know what kind of pieces you're looking for, and Slidesgo just has them, all of them, and you just input your own information.
That's excellent. Thank you so much. I feel like this was the most perfect place, the most perfect concept to start with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially the addition of guided notes. So using the presentation as the almost like the touchstone. It's like you're coming back to it, students are coming back to it, folks with guided notes are coming back to it, the observer, if you happen to have one that day, coming back to it. It's all right there. My mind is blown at the idea that there was a time, and it's actually probably still happening, where educator on top of orchestrating a classroom is writing all of this
Absolutely.
down. Really?
Absolutely. I genuinely cannot imagine how much more time I'd have to take out of just my everyday to do something like that on the board and constantly writing and erasing and writing and erasing. And this just makes it so much easier, especially with all the different animations and all the different ways that you can animate a Google slide. Makes it easier to hide things from your students until you're ready. And these templates just make it so much easier.
Yep. That makes a ton of sense. This was a lot of good info packed into, look at us, under 15 minutes.
Hey.
Yeah, thank you. If there's anything that comes up while you're watching the recorded version of this, I'm going to post it, add a comment to it, and I'll say that we'll do our best to answer, because I think that's what we can do. I already had my coffee, but this is water. Stay hydrated. Thank you so much, Erin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything today, and we will talk again soon.
Sounds great.
Bye-bye.